Yo, what's up guys? Boogle here. Today, you guessed it, we're going to be using our own guide to beat Manic Flying. Now this one's going to be much simpler, and you'll see that soon because we do it in one attempt. Also, Boogle uploading battle cats more than 3 times in a month. What? Yeah, doing these videos gives me an excuse to actually get on battle cats and do some of the Manic stages. So yeah, here we go. Now the old guide does talk a lot about the scarce gacha explanation and such, but we do have some of the key gachas at our disposal. Also, we don't have enough high levels to do it the scarce gacha way, so we're gonna do what's obvious and we're gonna abuse the key gachas. In the when you should get Manic Cats video, I mentioned how key gachas really mess up this stage and make it a joke, even if you don't have all the true forms like we did in the old guide. So yes, we did absolutely abuse the key gachas and sweep this in one run, even being way lower leveled compared to the old guide. Now things are a bit different since we do have Courier here to help us out. We also do have Cyberpunk, but we're not going to use it because it'll be a bit too easy. We did do an NP Massacre and we did get talent for Can, the money up and alien target talent. That NP Massacre video will be dropping soon. But yeah, there was really no game plan here. We just had to follow this strategy and use our key gachas. If you don't know what the key gachas are, I did make a whole video going into detail about the key gacha units. You can go look at that over there. Now, it's not going to be as simple as just go in the stage and spam our key gachas. I mean, if we were using Cyberpunk, then maybe yes. We don't have our GO tier, the Crutch Cube Cat, so stuff could be looking rough out there for real. We're gonna have to follow this strategy here, which might seem complicated at first, but since I've done this level a billion times, it's probably going to be no issue. Also, we could have just used Ubers and such, but it would be too easy with Cyberpunk, let alone bringing Ubers. Alright, enough yapping, onto the run. This was the first run, of course. I did this run while I was messaging someone on Discord, so I was not focused at all, but it was still very easy. Now in the beginning, in the old guide, it says you have to rush, get as much chip damage as possible. So that's exactly what we did. Especially with the low levels we have here, we want to absolutely get as much chip damage as possible. Courier makes this a lot easier because not only can Courier just rush up and get some nice chip damage, Courier can also stall back the Raindies long enough to where we could get some extra chip damage off. Now the strategy, it explains to just keep pushing forward until both the Raindies come out and the first boar wave begins. And like I explained in that old guide, there is 2 boar waves, a red boar wave and an alien boar wave, and those just repeat back and forth with rain D cycles in between. So first what we want to do, of course, is lure out the first boar cycle. We still don't need to lure here though, because Courier is doing a great job at keeping rain D back. There's the second one that spawns in right there. And this is pretty good. We're still pushing forward a bit, getting nice chip damage when we can. You could tell I wasn't paying attention too much because I was still pushing up, and then I saw the red boar and I was like, okay, time to stop. Now we lure and we take out the boar as fast as possible. Now Can does do an excellent job at eliminating the boar, but also crowd controlling as well. You could probably tell we brought no red crowd control units here. We don't have iCat, we don't have Row. So Can is really our only option here, and that is enough. We could also use Can with its target alien for the alien boar, but we have Castaway for that just in case. Now between Courier and Can, we should be absolutely shredding the boar, and we are. And you'll see within a couple seconds we are able to just eliminate boar off the map, which is very crucial because we want to set up our rain D cycles early so we have as much time as possible with Manic Flying isolated, just like the guide explained. So what we do, we lure out the rain D cycle, eliminate the rain D cycle, we have a clear path, nice damage window opportunity, then all hell breaks loose because Manic Flying is isolated. We have that huge window of time to just unleash as much damage as possible before the next boar wave arrives and the next rain D wave after that. So yeah, this is what the guide explained here. We have this isolated time here with Manic Flying where we just unleash as much damage as possible. Then when that boar wave is coming, we reset and repeat again. This strategy can be kind of intimidating to pull off if you haven't done it before, because you have to keep track of a bunch of enemy cycles and each boar cycle, and in between those boar cycles you have to keep track of the rain D cycles as well. So you have to make sure you have a clear path to Manic Flying without any rain Ds in the way. And the hilarious thing about all of this is, if you just use Cyberpunk, all of those worries are gone. It is literally just brain dead. Just use Cyberpunk, spam your key gachas, that's it. Don't have to keep track of boar cycles, don't have to keep track of rain D cycles or time a Bahamut to wipe out the cycles. But here is the first alien boar wave. This is when it could get a little bit tough depending on what units you have. Here we have Castaway and Can alien target. Crowd control is really the big killer for the boar waves. If you do not have crowd control, it is extremely difficult to try to just brute force your way through them. You'll need much higher levels for that, and or help of Ubers and such, but we don't have crazy high levels and we're not using Ubers. Castaway is really the clutch goat over here with those freeze procs. You can also use Castaway on the red boar wave like we did before to just get some nice extra DPS on, and Manic Flying as well, because it is fast enough to enter Manic Flying's range and get a hit off. It also has that survive, so it can get multiple hits off. But yeah, here we go. Once again, we lure out the rain D cycle after the boar cycle, try to wipe out the rain Ds so we have a clear path, and then we just isolate Manic Flying once again, and then we're back to repeating the cycle. Now, another big thing the guide mentioned is crowd controlling Manic Flying. There isn't much units that can do that, and we do not have Chimera to do that, so we have to use Sniper Cat power up. Losing ground in this level is very costly because flying only has one knockback. The old guy did explain how you do need ground to fend off those boar waves, and that is absolutely true. That is also very true for the rain D cycles as well. Now we're just waiting for the next rain D cycle and prepping for the other red boar wave. At this point you could really tell I wasn't paying attention at all, but we didn't mess up too bad to where we were in a troublesome spot to lose the stage. Now you should really look for the boar waves before they're right up next to you. In this run I obviously wasn't paying attention. The boar is already right here and I'm like, oh, it's boar wave, okay. But the power of the key gachas is too much. Even if we were late for paying attention to the boar wave, it just doesn't stand a chance against Courier and Can. Now, losing ground here was a bit scary because we didn't have much ground to work with to handle the rain D cycle after the boar. Courier is goated enough to be hitting those rain Ds though and doing lots of damage to them. But there we go, another boar wave down. Of course, then we start counting for the next boar wave. We lure out the rain D wave, take them out, then we have another clean slate to just isolate Manic Flying once again. But here, yeah, you can see we had a little bit of trouble isolating Manic Flying because we didn't want to lure rain D too close and give up too much ground. Also, we weren't paying attention that much. But one rain D was down, that was enough. But me not paying attention there was a costly price because we did not keep track of the correct rain D cycle, so their two rain Ds are stacked up once again. The main difference between this situation here now and the old guide is Courier. Courier can absolutely comfortably handle these rain Ds even with a boar wave. The thing about the old guide, I was using stuff like Paris and such, which doesn't have LD, doesn't have that nice range, that LD range at least, to just snipe the rain Ds. We did have a Manic Macho Legs here, but that wasn't doing too much at level 20. It was more there to get some nice chip damage on flying while there was boar waves and such. Also just to constantly knock back the rain Ds. So in this cycle, we definitely would have killed flying here if we did pay attention to the correct rain D cycle and got the A Bahamut off on the right rain Ds. But it isn't over. All we have to do is just survive one more boar wave and one more quick sweep of the rain Ds. Then we'll be on our way to just eliminating Manic Flying. So we got Bahamut back up on recharge. What we're gonna do is, of course, to recover, try to take out at least two or some of the rain Ds here because we do not want them to stack up too much. That was a nice hit right there. Using Courier to knock back the rain Ds and getting that leverage to get a Bahamut in there and get hits on both of them. Now at this point, we've pretty much recovered fully. We just need to handle this boar wave quickly. And as you can probably tell, that is not what we did because we did not have enough units stacked up. We lost a lot of ground already, but it wasn't too detrimental. Once we killed Boar, that was our green light. We could stand ground with our crowd control. We had Castaway and such. But yeah, we just executed the guide, tried to get these cycles down, even while being distracted just a bit. But eventually we were able to take down Manic Flying there with a can slap. It did take longer than expected because we did have some true forms here, but we also have to remember that we have much lower levels as well, even if we do have some of the true forms. But yeah, there was Manic Flying. I didn't expect to struggle, and what do you know, we did not struggle at all. Just executed the old guide strategy, put in some of our key gacha units that we have, and the help of Courier, we were able to sweep by very easy. Yeah, there was Manic Flying obtained. This is our, what, 5th Manic? Of course, we'll come back and do all of the updated in-depth guides soon. We still have a couple of these types of videos left before we do that, but this one is down. There we go. If you want to see the others, I'll link them down below and maybe make a playlist to them. But yeah, that's it. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, join the hashtag Boogle gang, Discord down below, join if you'd like. It's been John Boogle, and see ya.